Hi, my name is John Tisbury and we're going to look at 3 different camera viewpoints that'll make a remarkable difference to your photography and cinematography. So stay tuned to see how to add impact to your images. So in the intro tease there I said about adding impact to our images. What do I mean? Well, typically we're used to seeing the world at a certain viewpoint. It's either standing or seated. We spend most of our waking hours in either one of those 2 positions. So we're used to seeing things around us either from a standing viewpoint or from a seated viewpoint. It therefore becomes a very comfortable and familiar type of viewpoint for us. If we see photographs or images or cinematography taken at that same viewpoint, then it gives us comfort, it gives us security, and it becomes familiar to us. There's a downside of that though, is if you want your images to stand out, you perhaps need to think about turning the tables a little bit and adding a little bit more impact to your images by changing your viewpoint. So let me take you on a little journey and show you 3 techniques that will actually add more impact to your images. So the first one we're going to look at is a low viewpoint. Anything taken from a low viewpoint, be it a photograph or film, the subject will appear a lot more dominant in the frame. It will allow you to give the model, if it's an individual, that will give them longer legs, a lot more dominant position, and through careful framing and composition, it's surprising the impact that can make by just having that low viewpoint. The typical example I can think about is if you ever take photographs of pets, dogs and cats and all that sort of thing, or children, getting down low at their level gives you much more impact than a shot from higher up looking down at them. Yeah, here's some examples of that I took earlier of our model here, our mannequin model, to sort of demonstrate the point. And I've got some film and I've also got some stills. So the opposite to that low viewpoint is conversely a high viewpoint, and that could be equally as useful depending on the type of feeling or emotion that you want to portray. I often use a high viewpoint if I want to get sort of a submissive feel from a subject. So if I'm doing some sort of bondage or erotic or fetish type imagery, by having a high viewpoint, I can make the subject appear very submissive. It's also great for shots where you're sort of looking over the tops, like a bird's eye view if you like, or a fly on the ceiling type view. And again, that can be very dramatic and give a completely different viewpoint from that you would normally see. And if you think about making that parallel into things like drone footage, drones are becoming a lot more popular now, and you see a lot of overhead shots looking down, looking at symmetry, looking at viewpoints that you wouldn't generally see. So, and they are very striking from that perspective, because again, it's a viewpoint we don't often see. So again, I've taken a few examples either previously or for this particular video, so we'll have a quick look at those. The third technique we're going to be looking at is one called Dutch angles or Deutsche angles or camera tilt or canted angle. There's actually a load of terms for exactly the same camera technique. It's where you move the camera off the horizontal and tilt it. It's a bit like if you were sort of tilting your head and viewing from that perspective. It's a cinematography technique that's used extensively when they're filming a subject to give tension, to give a sort of uneasy tension within that particular aspect of the film or scene. Sort of psychological uneasiness, if you like. It's a great technique. The good thing is you can also use it for photography as well, which is good from our perspective. From a little bit of trivia for you, is the term Dutch angle has probably been changed over the time. It initially came out from Germany. It was a German technique used in the early 1900 films, First World War films, where they were in the Impressionistic movement, and a lot of their films used the Deutsche angles, as it would have been termed there, to give that, again, that psychological tension and thriller type impact from the use of that angle. The term has probably got corrupted over the years, and it's now generally known as Dutch angle, whereas it's actually got nothing to do with it. Dutch, bless them. It was invented in Germany, or has found fame in Germany as a camera technique. It's been used extensively in a lot of films, and you probably haven't noticed it, because if it's used well, it works without drawing attention to itself as a technique. However, like most things, it can be overused. Some of the films it has been used in are the original Bride of Frankenstein, The Maltese Falcon, Slumdog Millionaire, Titanic, Star Trek, The Final Stand, The Third Man, Citizen Kane, and so on and so on. There's loads of them. So it's a very popular technique among directors. And as I said earlier, it's great because it can also have the same effect within photographs as well. So I've taken a few already, plus we'll have a look at some of my older work as well, so you can see the impact that Deutsche Curves actually has. And if you use that in conjunction with the high angle and the low angle, either or, so you can't use both at the same time, it adds a dramatic effect to your images. So let's just have a look at those. So there you go, 3 camera techniques that hopefully you can put into practice straight away. The high viewpoint, the low viewpoint, and the Dutch angle. Give them a go, mix them up, see what works for you, and let me know, see how you get on. It's one of those really simple techniques, it's just stopping and thinking and actually then putting it into practice. So, hope you found that of interest and useful. If you have, then please consider subscribing. There's a button just popping up below. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, take care. Bye.